Creepy Crayon. Words by Aaron Reynolds. Pictures by Peter Brown. Narrated by SHAUNTE RAMOS. Jasper Rabbit was struggling in school. He was flunking math. He was failing spelling. The only subject he was passing was art. Jasper needed serious help. That's when he found the crayon. It was purple, pointy, and perfect. And somehow, it looked happy to see him. That night, Jasper knew he had to study for his spelling test, but Tales from the Carrot Patch was on. By the time it was over, he was way too tired to study. The test was a disaster. Jasper couldn't remember how to spell a single word. That's when he noticed something strange. Jasper picked up the crayon. Immediately, he spelled all the words correctly. When he got his test back, he got an A+ and a sticker. The crayon looked pleased. Creepy, but cool. After dinner, Jasper settled in to play Bunny Brawl 3. "Math homework first," said Dad. "Fine," moaned Jasper. That's when he saw it, scrawled in peculiar purple penmanship. "Who needs math when you have Bunny Brawl 3? 3 hours later, he fell asleep, his game in one hand, the purple crayon in the other. When Mrs. Lopshire announced a surprise math quiz, Jasper panicked. He reached for a pencil, but instead, his hand wrapped around the crayon. Suddenly, math seemed easy. He knew when to carry the 1. He knew when to borrow from the bigger numbers. It was like the crayon knew exactly what to do. After the quiz, he saw it, written on his backpack. Jasper and crayon forever. Jasper felt a shiver go up his spine. The next day was the deadline for the poster contest. Jasper had been working on his entry for weeks. It just needed a few finishing touches. The purple crayon rolled across the table, all by itself. But Jasper ignored it. "Don't ignore me!" He shuddered. He scrubbed the writing off the table. He zipped the crayon into his pencil case. He tried to forget all about the crayon. But when he woke up, his previous artwork was better than ever. It was a horrifying masterpiece. In purple! "Fantastic work!" cried Mr. Hoppypot. "You should be very proud." But Jasper didn't feel proud. He felt eked out, freaked out, creeped out. When he got home, Jasper descended into the deepest, darkest corner of his basement. He put the crayon in a dusty box and locked it tight. He went to bed feeling much better. But when he woke up the next day, there, on the mirror, "You need me." In his pencil case, the creepy crayon. And it looked happy to see him. That day, Jasper got all A+. It was terrible. Enough was enough. Jasper snapped the creepy crayon in two. He melted it in the microwave, and he threw the mess into the garbage. He drifted to sleep that night, feeling relieved. But when he woke up, there, on his wall, it was a mural of him graduating elementary school, with straight A's, and worst of all, it was really well drawn. And next to it, the creepy crayon. Purple, pointy, and perfect. All day, no matter what Jasper did, the creepy crayon was there, looking oh so pleased. In his hand, as he aced his vocabulary quiz. In his pocket, as Mrs. Lopshire named Jasper Most Improved Student. In the crowd, as the school celebrated Jasper in a special assembly. Things were spinning out of control. Jasper couldn't take it anymore. When he got home, he ran straight to the toilet. And he threw the crayon in. It just floated there, spinning slowly. It did not look happy to see him. And then Jasper saw it, scribbled inside the bowl. "Don't you dare!" But Jasper dared. That evening, Tales from the Carrot Patch was on. But Jasper studied for his spelling test. His eyes kept darting to his pencil case. No creepy crayon. He flung the toilet lid up. No creepy crayon. He got into bed, nervously, watching his walls. No creepy crayon. During the test, Jasper spelled ocean wrong, but he spelled courage right. He got a C+. It was glorious. It wasn't an A, but it was his. He headed home from school that day, finally feeling free. Far, far away was an old sewer pipe. Out and away floated the purple crayon. Slowly, silently, it drifted. For days and weeks. One thing was clear. The creepy crayon would never cause trouble ever again. Except that's when Elliot Pelican spotted the creepy crayon. It was purple, pointy, and perfect. And somehow, it looked happy to see him. Frankenstein's Cat by Curtis Jobling. Now, we all know the story of Frankenstein and his monster. Frank was a misunderstood, some would say mad, doctor who made a man out of body parts. Monster goes mad, lots of tears, end of story. Well, the monster wasn't the doctor's first experiment. There was another. Meet Frankenstein's cat. Kind of funny looking, isn't he? The doctor named him 9, not because cats have 9 lives, but because that's how many cats it took to make him. A Persian here, a Siamese there, a couple of tabbies, a few mousers, and a very, very, very smelly alley cat, thrown in for good measure. Well, life was never going to be easy for a cat that looked and smelled like that. The folks who lived in the castle liked things that were just plain ordinary, and clearly, Frankenstein's cat was no ordinary cat. But Nine was determined to make some friends. With a stinky spring in his stuttering stride, he visited the castle kitchen. The sweet smell of baking pastries attracted him like a bee to honey. Frankenstein's cat slinked up to the cook and rubbed against her legs. "Pay you!" exclaimed the cook, pinching her nose. "What is that awful smell?" "Only me," said Nine. "Can I help?" "Yes," said Cook. "You can start by getting your smelly paws out of my kitchen. Be off with you." After a swift swipe from Cook's broom, Frankenstein's cat scampered away. "I know," he thought. "I'll try the courtyard. I bet I'll find a friend there." He hopped into the yard, where he bumped into some village children playing. "Can I join in?" asked Nine. "Yuck! What is that smell?" all the children muttered. One boy stepped up, not too close. "We're playing hide and seek," he said. "Sure, you can join in. Go and hide." Frankenstein's cat bounded off excitedly and hid behind a tree. Once there, he waited, and waited, and waited. "What's happened to them?" he thought. "They should have found me by now. I'm not even that well hidden." Only when he got up and looked for them did he spot them playing in a faraway field. With a sigh and a sniff, he went back into the castle. In the hall, he found the butler, spring cleaning the castle. Nine skidded up to his feet, tail swishing excitedly and only occasionally falling off. "Please, Mr. Butler, can I help you with the cleaning? I promise I'll do a good job. Please, please." Curling up his nose, the butler looked him up and down. I suppose so. I can't really see what trouble you can cause." That was the butler's big mistake. 20 minutes, lots of chaos, and plenty of broken dishes later, Frankenstein's cat was shown the exit. "It's not my fault my limbs have a life of their own. I didn't choose them," he grumbled. "Out!" shouted the butler, pointing to the door. Fed up, Frankenstein's cat went to the doctor's laboratory, where his master was hard at work. "It's no good," said Nine. "I'm lonely and I need a friend." He shuffled about on his mismatched feet before settling by the fire. That's when he had his idea. He didn't have many, so this was quite a special occasion. He looked up at the doctor with bright eyes. Well, one was bright, the other was a bit dull. "Make me a companion, master, please?" And so the doctor set to work. As the doctor chopped and sewed, stitched and sawed, Nine paced back and forth anxiously, nervous as a newborn kitten. Something he'd never actually been. "Oh boy," he thought, "a friend! I can't wait!" His thoughts were interrupted by his master's voice. "Enter!" the doctor called, and Frankenstein's cat rushed in. He saw a shape, draped in a white sheet, lying on the doctor's operating table. As a storm rumbled overhead and lightning lit up the laboratory, the doctor pulled hard on a huge metal lever. Electricity coursed along cables to the body on the table. Slowly but surely, it began to twitch and shudder. The figure sat upright, the sheet still covering it. The doctor stepped up and grabbed the edge of the sheet. A warm smile spread across his face. "Frankenstein's cat?" said the doctor, pulling the sheet away. "Meet Fifi." Frankenstein's dog? The cat felt sick. With a screech of horror, Frankenstein's cat jumped 4 feet into the air, legs whirring before turning tail and sprinting for the door. Frankenstein's dog replied with a bellowing before lurching after him on his clumsy paws. And that is how our sad story ends, with Frankenstein's dog chasing Frankenstein's cat around the castle for forever and a day. If one had to come up with a moral to this story, and I'm not sure there is one, I guess it could be this. What you get, in this case a large, vicious zombie dog, isn't always what you asked for. Just bear that in mind when you ask for a puppy for a present. The Good, the Bad, and the Spooky. Written by Jory John. Illustrated by Pete Oswald and Saba Joshagani. Narrated by SHAUNTE Ramos. I'm in a bad mood. A bad mood. Oh yeah, it's true. You want to know why I'm feeling so crummy right now? Huh? Do you? Well, it's Halloween, which is my favorite holiday. I wait all year long for this very evening. But listen to this. I don't have a costume yet. Look around. Nothing works. What a travesty. I promise I didn't wait until the last minute. I've been thinking about costumes for weeks, and I honestly gave it my best shot. For instance, I've already tried dressing up as a ghost. I can't see. And a vampire. I can't talk. And a robot. I can't move. Everything looks so uninspiring. It turns out that putting together a perfect, original, show-stopping costume is basically impossible. Halloween used to be so much fun. My friends and I would all get dressed up together. Oh, the memories. One year, we were a rock and roll band. The next year, we went as our favorite condiments. Oh, and then there was this time we went as a carton of eggs. We were cracking up all night. But things changed, as they often do. Time marched on. We all got a little older, a little more independent. And I just can't shake the feeling that everybody, and I mean everybody, is going to outdress me this year. After all, I live on a sunflower, in a field where everyone takes Halloween very seriously. Very seriously. You have no idea. No idea. See, how can I compete with that? And that? And that? And what the heck is that? I just can't stand it. And that's why I'm in a bad mood. A bad mood. With a bad attitude. Sheesh. There's only one thing I can think of that will even things out. I need to trick everybody into thinking Halloween has been postponed until tomorrow night. Yeah, then I'll have a bit more time to get my costume together. Excuse me, out of my way, please. Coming through. Hey! Well, I never. Pardon me. Seed on a mission here. Attention, everybody. Let's see. There's a big thunderstorm on the way. That's right, a storm. And also, squirrels. A herd of seed-eating squirrels is racing towards us. Yikes! Watch out! Squirrels and rain and thunder, not a good combination. So, for your safety, please head home this instant. We'll resume Halloween tomorrow night. Gosh, that sounds spooky. Bummer. There, that should do it. No more competition, no more hurt feelings, and, most importantly, no more costumes. What a relief. I beg your pardon. Yes? What is it? If I may be so bold, it seems like you're not enjoying yourself this evening. As a fellow seed, in fact, as a pumpkin seed, I know all about the pressures of Halloween. But listen, Halloween is about more than costumes and candy, Mr. Seed. It's about crunching through the autumn leaves. It's about decorations. It's about togetherness. And it's about community. Look around. This is all supposed to be fun. But nobody really cares what you're wearing. We're just here to have a good time. Look at us. We made these costumes in about 5 minutes and we're having a blast. Just something to think about. Goodbye, Mr. Seed. Sheesh. Is it possible that I've overreacted? Have I made too big of a deal out of something trivial? I suppose I have been taking my bad mood out on everybody else today. Maybe nobody's really paying attention to my costume. Perhaps Halloween doesn't need to be a competition, after all. I've made a big mistake, but maybe it's not too late. Attention, everybody! Me again! And I have some good news! Halloween is back on! There's no storm after all, and there are no squirrels barreling toward us. This was all a big trick! Get it? You may continue getting treats now. It's candy time! Hooray! Yay! I've made a big decision. I'm going to worry less about things that don't really matter. Not just on Halloween, but on other days too. I just needed somebody to talk some sense into me. Now I'm not in such a bad mood anymore. And I don't have such a bad attitude anymore. As for my costume, well, I'll figure something out. Later that same Halloween evening. Hello again. Check it out. I'm a squirrel. Pretty spooky, right? Boo. And if you have the space, I'd love to join you. Of course. You see, it doesn't take much to have a good time on Halloween. Yippee! Well, Mr. Seed, I'm glad you finally got into the spirit of Halloween. And we haven't even gotten to the best part of the night. Take a look around. Wow. Now this is a treat. A treat for everybody. Indeed, Mr. Seed. Indeed. Happy Halloween to us all. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown by Charles M. Schulz. Every fall, the leaves on the trees turn brown and fall off the branches. Pumpkins grow big and plump in their patches. The air grows cooler and people start to think about their Halloween costumes. And every fall, Linus writes a very important letter. Dear Great Pumpkin, Linus writes, I'm looking forward to your arrival on Halloween night. I hope you will bring me lots of presents. Who are you writing to? Asks Charlie Brown. "The Great Pumpkin," Linus replies. On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of his pumpkin patch and flies through the air with his bag of toys for all the children. Linus's sister Lucy isn't happy that Linus is writing to the Great Pumpkin. "You'll make me the laughingstock of the neighborhood," she complains. But Charlie Brown's sister Sally doesn't think Linus is crazy. She thinks Linus is wonderful. He is her sweet baboo. "Wouldn't you like to sit with me in the pumpkin patch on Halloween night and wait for the Great Pumpkin?" Linus asks. Sally is thrilled. "I'd love to," she tells Linus. Later that day, Charlie Brown has a surprise waiting for him in the mailbox. "I got an invitation to a Halloween party," he exclaims. Lucy thinks the invitation must be a mistake. "There were 2 lists," she tells Charlie Brown. "One to invite and one not to invite." Charlie Brown knows which list he was probably on, but he decides to go to the party anyway. On Halloween night, everyone is planning to go to the party, except Linus. "My blockhead brother will be out in the pumpkin patch, making his yearly fool of himself," Lucy grumbles. She can't understand why Linus would choose to miss out on all the fun that Halloween has to offer by sitting around in a pumpkin patch. Everyone puts on their costumes. Lucy is dressed as a witch. Charlie Brown is dressed as a ghost, but no one can tell what he is supposed to be because he had some trouble with the scissors. Sally is also dressed as a ghost, and so is Schroeder. They figured out how to use the scissors just fine. Pigpen is dressed as a ghost too. Everyone can tell which ghost he is because a cloud of dust surrounds him. Snoopy walks by, also dressed in a costume. "Who in the world is that?" asks Lucy. "He's a World War I flying ace," Charlie Brown explains. "Now I've seen everything," Lucy says. Lucy declares that everyone will go trick-or-treating first and then go to the Halloween party. As they pass by the pumpkin patch, Linus sees them and gets excited, thinking they have come to wait with him. "Have you come to sing pumpkin carols with me?" he asks. "You blockhead!" Lucy yells at her brother. "You're going to miss all the fun, just like last year." "Don't talk like that," Linus cries. "The Great Pumpkin will come because I am in the most sincere pumpkin patch." "Oh, good grief," Lucy exclaims. She marches off with her friends. It looks like no one wants to join Linus in the pumpkin patch to wait for the Great Pumpkin. Except, what about Sally? Sally is torn. She doesn't want to miss out on all the fun of trick-or-treating and a party, but Linus is her sweet baboo. What should she do? Sally runs back to the pumpkin patch. "I'm glad you came back," Linus tells her. "You'll see the Great Pumpkin with your own eyes." Linus is positive the Great Pumpkin will pick this patch. Why wouldn't he? The Great Pumpkin chooses the most sincere patch to visit every year, and how could a pumpkin patch be more sincere than this one? Sally hopes Linus is right. Meanwhile, the rest of the kids go trick-or-treating. "Tricks or treats, money or eats," they yell at the first door. Everyone compares what they got. "I got 5 pieces of candy," brags Lucy. "I got a chocolate bar," exclaims Patty. "I got a quarter," says Violet happily. "I got a rock," says Charlie Brown sadly. And that happens at every door. All the other kids get wonderful treats like candy, gum, and popcorn balls. And Charlie Brown gets rocks. Lucy decides they have done enough trick-or-treating and it's time to go to the party. After all, everyone has a bag filled to the brim with treats. Everyone except Charlie Brown. He has a bag full of rocks. On their way to the party, they pass by the pumpkin patch again. The kids laugh at Linus and Sally for waiting there instead of coming to the party. "The great pumpkin will be here!" Sally yells, defending Linus. After the kids walk by, Sally turns to Linus. "All right, where is he?" she asks. "He'll be here," Linus assures her. "I hope so," Sally replies. "Think of all the fun we're missing." And the Halloween party is a lot of fun, for everyone except Charlie Brown. At first, Charlie Brown thinks his night is looking up when the other kids ask him to be the model for the jack-o'-lantern. That sounds like a great honor. But then he realizes that being the model means having Violet draw a big pumpkin face on the back of his head. Meanwhile, in the pumpkin patch, Sally is growing tired of waiting for the great pumpkin. "If anyone had told me I'd be waiting in a pumpkin patch on Halloween night, I'd have said they were crazy," she complains. Just then, she and Linus hear a rumbling noise. They see a shadow emerging from the pumpkin patch. "It's the great pumpkin, rising up out of the pumpkin patch!" Linus yells. He is so excited to see the great pumpkin that he faints. But it isn't the great pumpkin after all. It is just the World War I flying ace on his way back from a very important mission. Linus wakes up and asks Sally what happened. "I was robbed!" howls Sally. "Halloween is over and I missed it!" She stomps out of the pumpkin patch, leaving Linus all alone to wait for the great pumpkin. Linus falls asleep waiting, and later that night, Lucy comes to bring him home and tuck him into his warm bed. The next day, Charlie Brown tries to make Linus feel better. "Don't take it too hard that the great pumpkin never showed up," he tells his friend. But Linus doesn't feel let down. "Just wait until next year," he tells Charlie Brown. "I'll find the most sincere pumpkin patch, and I'll sit in that pumpkin patch until the great pumpkin appears."